Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Sunday, February 1st, 2026. Can you believe we are already closing the book on the first month of the year?
It really does fly. 1 month down, 11 to go. And if this first month is any indication, 2026 is going to be a pivotal year for the digital ecosystem.
Absolutely. And to kick off February, we're doing something a little different with our stack today.
Yeah.
Usually we're pulling from a global dragnet, a headline from Silicon Valley, a report from London, something from Shenzhen.
Sure, all over the place.
But today we're looking at the state of the world through a very specific, very interesting lens. We are analyzing a stack of reports exclusively from TechWorld Bangladesh.
Which I think is a brilliant move because it offers a perspective we often miss in the Western-centric tech bubble.
Right.
When you look at the tech world from the vantage point of South Asia, you get this fascinating cross-section. You have the local innovation, which is really surging, but you also see how massive global ripples, like, say, U.S. court cases, land in these dynamic markets.
Exactly. It acts as a filter. It creates this unique mix where you see the global giants and the local challengers side by side. And let me tell you, the lineup today is honestly a bit of a roller coaster. We have a massive legal victory for Google that saved them billions.
Yeah.
A partnership between Bangladesh and Gambia that sounds incredibly bureaucratic until you realize what they're actually trading.
It's not goods, it's governance. It's a really profound story about how nations talk to each other now.
Right. And then we have the hardware news. We are going to talk about a smartphone battery that is so big, I genuinely thought it was a typo in the report.
Oh, I know one.
I had to read it 3 times.
10,001 millinoa. Definitely not a typo, it's a statement.
It's a monster. And finally, we're wrapping up with some major esports news coming out of a tech expo that really, cements gaming as a career path. But before we get to the gamers and the mega batteries, we have to eat our vegetables. We have to start with the rules, the guardrails,
the regulatory landscape. And honestly, today, landscape might be too calm a word. It's more like a battlefield.
Precisely. And we're seeing 2 very different approaches to controlling the digital space today. We have one story out of India and another out of the United States.
Right.
Let's start with India, because this proposal is, well, it's heavy.
It is. According to the source, there's a proposal surfacing in the Indian parliament to ban social media usage for anyone under the age of 16.
A total ban, not a parental control suggestion, not a please be careful campaign.
No.
A hard ban.
That is the language used in the report.
Yeah.
And what makes this worthy of a deep dive isn't just the idea itself. We've heard similar noises in other countries over the years.
Sure.
But the source of the proposal. The report notes this is coming from a member of parliament who belongs to the ruling coalition.
Okay, let's unpack that. That is a crucial distinction.
It is.
This isn't a backbencher from the opposition trying to grab a headline or stir the pot. If it's coming from the ruling coalition, it implies there's actual political weight behind it.
Exactly. It moves it from fringe idea to potential policy. It suggests that within the corridors of power, there's a serious conversation happening about this. And the stated goal here is explicit: limiting social media use for adolescents.
It's interesting because it frames social media almost like a controlled substance.
It does.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. We're talking about India. The population numbers are staggering. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people. How do you even begin to enforce a ban like that?
That is the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
Yep.
The source doesn't detail the technical implementation, but if we think about the logistics, it's a monumental undertaking.
Right.
You're talking about verifying the age of millions of users. Are you uploading IDs? Is it biometric? Is it tied to a national identity card? The friction that creates for the platforms it's immense.
And the friction for the users, it changes the internet from an open square to a gated community?
Right. But it signals a massive shift in mindset. It suggests that the state views social media for kids not just as a nuisance, but as a public health issue or a societal risk that requires intervention.
So the government is stepping in.
They're stepping in to say the platforms haven't self-regulated enough, parents are overwhelmed, so we are drawing a hard line.
It's the sledgehammer approach versus the scalpel. And we aren't here to say if that is right or wrong. But as an observation of a policy trend, it's incredibly aggressive.
It is, and it contrasts so sharply with what we're seeing in the United States.
Which brings us to our second story. While India is looking at new legislation, writing new rules, the U.S. is battling over existing laws. And in this round, it looks like big tech, specifically Google, came out on top.
A significant victory. The source details that Google secured a win in a U.S. court regarding a data privacy case.
Now, when we say victory in these corporate legal battles, usually that just means they paid a little less than expected
Or they settled.
or they settled without admitting guilt. But this sounds bigger than a slap on the wrist.
Much bigger. The key phrase in the report is that they avoided paying billions of dollars in additional fines.
Billions, with a B.
That is the scale of liability these companies carry. When you're dealing with data privacy, the protection of user personal data, the damages can stack up astronomically because you're dealing with millions of users.
So for Google, this is a massive sigh of relief.
It's more than relief, it's validation of their defense strategy. It shows that despite the intense scrutiny on big tech, despite the public outcry over privacy, they have the resources and frankly the legal arguments to fend off these massive financial hits.
It's interesting to put these two stories side by side.
There really is.
In India, you have the threat of new aggressive regulation, the government going on the offense. In the US, you have the reality of litigation, the government or plaintiffs trying to enforce rules, and the tech giants are actually holding their ground.
It shows the maturity of the market. In the US, the laws are established, and now we're fighting over the interpretation and enforcement. In India, they're still, in some ways, writing the rule book,
Right.
deciding what the digital society should look like for the next generation.
It really highlights that the tech world isn't one singular place with one set of rules. It's a patchwork.
And that patchwork is shifting every day.
Now, while those titans are fighting over rules and fines, there's another layer of the ecosystem that's surprisingly cooperative.
Yes. This is the part of the stack that I found really refreshing. It's a break from the conflict.
We're moving from the courtroom to the diplomatic table. The source highlights a partnership between Bangladesh and Gambia.
Specifically, involving the A2i program.
Aspire to Innovate. I've always loved that name. It sounds very forward-looking.
It is the flagship digital transformation program under the ICT division in Bangladesh. And the news is that A2i is partnering with the government of Gambia to help them develop their e-governance systems.
Now, I have to read the full name of the Gambian partner here because I wrote it down and underlined it.
Oh, this is a good one.
They're working with the Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reforms, Policy Coordination, and Delivery.
That is a title that covers all the bases.
It really is. Policy Coordination and Delivery. I feel like every government needs a Department of Delivery.
Just get it done.
Just get it done.
Very specific, isn't it? But it tells you exactly what they're looking for. They don't just want policy papers, they want execution. They want systems that deliver results.
So let's talk about what's actually changing hands here. Is Bangladesh sending them computers? Fiber optic cables? What is it?
No. And that's what makes this a true deep dive topic.
Mm-hmm.
They're developing e-governance systems.
Define that for us in this context.
E-governance is the operating system of a country. It's how you register a birth, how you pay taxes, how you manage land records.
The plumbing.
It's the plumbing of the state. How the government delivers services to the citizen digitally.
So Bangladesh is taking the systems it built, the intellectual property of how to run a digital state, and exporting that to Gambia.
Precisely. It's South-South cooperation. Usually when we talk about tech transfer, we think of it coming from the West Silicon Valley or Europe down to developing nations.
Sure.
But here you have Bangladesh saying, we have solved these problems in a context that is similar to yours.
That's a great point. If you're Gambia, a system built for Germany might not work. Germany doesn't have the same resource constraints or, population dynamics.
Not at all.
But a system built for Bangladesh, that's likely a much better fit.
Exactly. It's highly adaptable. And it's a huge vote of confidence in the A2i program. It elevates them from a local initiative to a global model. It's digital diplomacy.
Digital diplomacy.
You aren't just building bridges with concrete and steel, you're building them with code and protocol.
I love that. Building bridges with code. It feels like a very 2026 concept. It shows that innovation isn't just about the shiniest new gadget.
No.
It's about making bureaucracy efficient.
Which, ironically, might be the most impactful innovation of all.
True. But speaking of the shiny new gadget, I really want to talk about the brick.
The brick. You mean the battery.
The absolute monster of a battery. The source from TechWorld Bangladesh brings us news of a new phone launch from Realme, the Realme P4 Power 5G.
Even the name suggests a certain intensity. P4 Power.
It sounds like an energy drink, but the specs are what caught my eye. This phone comes with a 10,001 milliampere Titan battery.
That number is staggering. 10,001.
Why the extra one? It feels like they just wanted to push it over the line.
It is definitely marketing, but it effectively signals we have broken the 10K barrier.
Okay.
To give the listener some context, the phone you are likely holding right now, unless it's a ruggedized, specialized device for a construction site or something, probably has a battery between 4,000 and 5,000 milliamps.
So this is double the industry standard.
Basically, it's a power bank with a screen glued to it.
That's exactly what I thought. The report calls it the world's first commercially available smartphone with this capacity. That's a big claim.
It is. And it positions Realme very specifically. You know, for years, the phone market was obsessed with thinness. How thin can we make the glass? How light can we make the frame?
And now we're swinging back.
We're seeing a divergence. The source mentions Realme is a youth favorite brand. Think about that demographic. What is the #1 anxiety for a teenager with a smartphone?
Seeing that red battery icon, 15% panic mode.
Exactly. If you're on 5G, which drains battery faster, and you're streaming 4K video, and you're gaming, a standard battery doesn't last the day. It just doesn't.
You're right. If you leave the house at 8 a.m. by 4:00 p.m., you are hunting for a wall outlet or asking the barista if they have a cable.
This device solves that brute force style. It says, forget the charger. You can game, stream, and scroll for 2 days straight.
Wow.
It's prioritizing endurance over aesthetics or weight.
I'm trying to imagine the weight of it, though. 10,001 milliamp, that has to be hefty. It's going to pull your pants down if you put it in your pocket.
It will be substantial. But for the target audience, that trade-off is worth it. They would rather have a heavy phone than a dead phone.
And speaking of that target audience, the gamers and the streamers, that leads us perfectly into the final story in our stack. Because you need that battery life if you're going to compete in what just happened at the Digital Device and Innovation Expo 2026.
A major event. The source notes it was a 4-day expo that just wrapped up.
And the centerpiece wasn't a new laptop or a drone or a piece of enterprise software. It was, and I quote, the country's largest mega esports competition.
Mega is the word. They aren't shying away from the scale.
And the prize money backs that up. The winners took home 4 lakh taka.
That is 400,000 taka. In the context of the local economy for a gaming tournament, that is significant.
It's huge. It's not just pizza money anymore.
No, this validates esports as a legitimate career path.
Oh.
When you put that kind of prize pool up at a national innovation expo, you are telling the public, this isn't just kids playing games in the dark.
Right.
This is an industry. This is competition.
It's interesting how the source frames it. This happened at the Digital Device and Innovation Expo. Usually those expos are trade shows.
Yeah.
You know, people in suits looking at servers, exchanging business cards.
Right. But the inclusion of a mega esports competition shows how the lines are blurring. Innovation isn't just about the hardware. It's about what you do with the hardware.
And the culture.
The culture is driving the tech.
And the tech is fueling the culture. You have Realme building these nuclear-powered batteries specifically so these kids can practice for the tournaments where they win 400,000 taka.
It is a self-sustaining ecosystem. The hardware manufacturers know who their power users are. They're building for them.
Yeah.
And the event organizers know who brings the energy and the crowds. It's the gamers.
It really paints a vivid picture of 2026, doesn't it?
It does.
You walk into this expo, and on one side you have government officials discussing e-governance with Gambia, and on the other side you have a massive screen with kids battling it out for a huge cash prize, holding phones that never die.
It's a very dynamic snapshot. It shows how diverse tech really is.
So let's pull back a bit. We've gone through the stack. We've seen the Indian government proposing a ban on under 16s using social media. We've seen Google dodging billions in fines in the US. We've seen Bangladesh exporting governance systems to Gambia. And we've seen the rise of the 10,000 milliamp battery in professional esports.
It's a lot to digest.
If you had to thread these needles, if you had to find the through line in this stack, what is it?
I think the core theme here is the tension between acceleration and control.
Okay, let's unpack that. Acceleration and control.
Look the hardware and the culture side of our stack. We are accelerating. We have the Realme P4 power device literally engineered to keep you online forever.
Right.
We have esports tournaments incentivizing youth to spend hours mastering digital skills for cash prizes. The commercial world is saying, more engagement, more power, more screen time. Don't stop.
Right. The message is, here's a battery that never dies, now go play until your fingers hurt.
Exactly. But then look at the policy side. Look at India. The state is looking at that exact same demographic, the youth, and saying, stop. They're proposing bans. They're trying to pull the plug while the industry's upgrading the battery.
That is a massive contradiction.
It's the defining paradox of our time. We're building a world designed for total immersion, frictionless, endless power, high rewards, and simultaneously panicking about the consequences of that immersion.
It's like we're handing a teenager the keys to a Ferrari, this high-speed, long-range device, and then telling them the speed limit is 0.
Right.
Or that they aren't allowed to drive it on the main roads.
Or trying to take the keys away entirely after we just sold them the car.
It really puts the listener in a tough spot to figure out where things are going.
It does. And that is why I think this stack is so important. It shows that technology and policy are currently moving in opposite directions. The tech is pushing for always on, and the policy is starting to push for turn it off.
So for the listener tuning in on this Sunday, what should they be thinking about?
I think the question is, can these two forces coexist? Can you really engineer for addiction with 10,000 milliamp batteries and gamified ecosystems and legislate for abstinence at the same time? As we move deeper into 2026, one of those forces is going to have to give. Either the bans won't work or the business models will have to change.
That is. Well, that is a haunting thought to leave us with. I'm going to be looking at my phone very differently today.
Yeah.
I might even put it down for a few minutes.
Just check the battery percentage first. With that new Realme, you probably have plenty of time.
Always. Well, that is it for today's deep dive into the TechWorld Bangladesh stack. It's been a wild tour from courtrooms to console wars.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you on the next one. Stay curious.